Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. For the past 3 or 4 days, the Ukrainian officials and their mass media kept repeating and telling us that Russia puts pressure on Belarus to invade Ukraine. So together Russian forces and Belarusian forces are about to invade from the north. They even told us that, which is true, Vladimir Putin and a big entourage traveled to Minsk and met Alexander Lukashenko, the leader, the president of Belarus. Now, here is where things, go two different directions. The Ukrainians told us that Putin went over there with Lavrov and Shoigu to put pressure on Lukashenko, which I don't think so. Yesterday, they met Lukashenko with Putin and they said they made a lot of deals and a lot of, they strengthened the alliance. Today, the Ukrainians claim that the Russian army or the Russian troops started approaching the border with Ukraine and bring their military equipment as well. Is that an invasion or not? Let's see. Ukrainska Pravda will inform us. So this article comes from December 20th, 2022. This is the headline. Russians take military equipment and soldiers to Belarusian border with Ukraine. Well, that seems like could be something that, you want to cross the border or meet the enemies closer to the border, because we don't know if, Ukrainians are making any maneuvers south of the border and that makes this guy come closer. But they probably pick different locations now, different strategic positions. We'll find out. A monitoring group reported that Russia began transferring military equipment and mobilized Russian occupiers to the south of Belarus, to the border with Ukraine. The source is Belaruski Hajun, an independent Belarusian military monitoring media outlet on Telegram. Reportedly, tanks, trucks, and personnel of the armed forces of Ukraine were being transported from the Belarusian polygons into the northern and central parts of Belarus, where they had been deployed to the south of Belarus, closer to the border with Ukraine. Belsat, a Belarusian outlet, posted a video showing one of the echelons spotted near the town of Dragichin on its way towards the settlement of Ivanovo. It includes 6 covered wagon cars, 2 wagon cars for people, fuel tanks and petrol carriers. Observers say that such number of vehicles is absolutely not enough to start any offensive actions. On December 20th, an echelon of Russian military vehicles departed from Polonka railway station. The vehicles were previously stationed at Obuz Lesnovsky firing range, which is Baranovich district, Brest Oblast. The platforms carried 23 T-80 main battle tanks, so 23 pieces of tanks, 8 petrol carriers, 9 Ural and Kamaz vans, as well as 2 passenger cars and 7 freight cars. You don't start an invasion with 23 tanks, okay, just so you know. Remember when the Belarusian army moved a week ago? 20 tanks to the western part of its country towards Poland, whatever they got over there. And they were all, my God, they're going to start an invasion with 20 tanks. And if you put them in line like this, you need one strong missile goes through all of them. Just kidding. Reports also say that on 19th of December, the military loaded more than 20 tanks and about 16 Urals vans on platforms at Zaslonovo railway station, Vitebsk Oblast. Previously, the vehicles stayed at Lipetsky firing range. This particular echelon is supposed to reach Slutsk, Minsk Oblast, which is much closer to the border with Ukraine. Another echelon moved past the settlement of Shklov, which is Mogilev Oblast. It included 20 BMP-2, 3 fuel carriers, 7 Urals, a mobile communication control room, 4 passenger cars, Russian railways, and 3 freight cars. This echelon arrived in Kalinkovich, Gomel Oblast, but it can move even further to the south. I just noticed that it's much easier for me to read the Belarusian names of towns or oblasts and even the Russian ones than it is to read the Ukrainians. I'm not aware of much of the difference in their speech, language. I can not understand, that's the wrong word. I can differentiate between a Russian and a Ukrainian. I know which is which. I know that's Russian, this is Ukrainian. I'm with 99.9 certain I can do that. I don't know how Belarusians are speaking, but when I read settlements from Ukraine, they're all Novopavlovsk-Kombatska or Vatsapaka. What the hell? I break my tongue, and I'm not bad at that. I know how to read stuff. But here with the Belarus, I didn't have any problem. It's a little bit different. I don't know. It's on my liking. I don't know more. Anyway, Belaruski Hajun summarizes that the vehicles could be delivered to joint drills of the Russian and Belarusian armies not far from the Ukrainian border. Background: on December 19, Alexander Lukashenko and the self-proclaimed president of Belarus and Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, met in Minsk, the capital of Belarus. Putin claims that he and Lukashenko discussed joint manufacture of new military equipment, further military training and training Belarusian military pilots. Lukashenko bragged that a S-400 anti-aircraft complex and an Iskander missile complex were put on combat duty in Belarus. The Ukrainian authorities believe that on December 19th in Minsk, Vladimir Putin, the Russian dictator, now making up your mind, you said the president, now he's a dictator, tried to force Alexander Lukashenko, the dictator of Belarus, to send Belarusian troops to the war against Ukraine. Oops, ninja. I said this on many occasions. Yes, they move the troops over there, but you sometimes move the troops to put in a better strategic position, dispersed in a different tactical, I don't know how to say it in English anyway, positions, let's put it this way. To prevent someone from coming too close or to defend your positions. On the other hand, yes, it could be a springboard for an invasion. But I do not think, as I said before, I'm 95% certain the Russians and the Belarusians will join the Russians in any invasion from their territory whatsoever, or going around and fighting for the Russians in Ukraine somewhere. I do not. That's not beneficial for the Russians. Belarusians is just a disaster. In any way, would be an advantage for the other side. Big advantage. Imagine how many troops could Belarus bring. The amount of troops that they would bring, the Russians can cover if they want, just like this. And the problems that the intervention of Belarusian army into Ukraine will create bigger problems than providing, 50,000 fighters, 100,000 fighters, 150,000 fighters. The Russians are capable of bringing those troops. They didn't mobilize, what was that? That's a mobilization. That's like a fight in a parking lot. That's what it is for them. I mean, there are 145 million people, and they mobilized 180,000, the last figure, or 82 or something like that. Sometimes 180, sometimes, I don't know if the Russians had mobilized more than 300,000. Let's say 400,000 people. That's how they fight the Russian military. I'm not talking about the guys in East Ukraine and the mercenaries and the volunteers. No. But I'm talking about the Russian army, per se. So I don't know if these guys, I don't know. I don't think, as I said, 95% they will invade in any way. Do you think that Ukraine would invade? No. what that happens in Ukraine, in Belarus, is just keep these guys guessing. And they cannot bring troops where they get, according to some reports, they get pummeled down there in Bakhmut, Avdiivka, and so on. So they make the moves, so these guys probably cannot take part of it going over there. And the Russians know that. So if they would stay, hey, everything is calm, the Ukrainians said, how about you just run fast over there and help? But if these guys start moving, these guys cannot do that. Therefore, they can't help those units over there in Bakhmut, Avdiivka, Novopavlivka, Liman. Those are the offensive where the Russians are. Or who knows what the Russians are planning to do? I don't know. Go around and go through Odessa. I have no idea. But they keep some part of the Ukrainian army busy. You know, that's the main thing. They will not invade unless they want to, go full force. Russia does not even have sufficient troops in Belarus to conduct an offensive, unless the Ukrainians have, 3 cooks and 5 garbage men working over there. Excuse me, garbage people. Let's be inclusive. So otherwise they can't. I mean, they need to have a lot of troops, and I don't think they have over there. Well, that's it for now, but don't worry, they're not going to invade. If they invade, I would be very surprised, and I'm going to wait for the reason why. And as I said, Belarusian army will not join. That's 99%. If they do, again, I'll be like, what the hell? Big surprise. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.